Reality of this dunya is very simple. Every single one of you now struggle. I struggle as well. We've been through our hardships, so have I. You can write a book, so can I. You can write volumes, my elders, about your hardships, about your struggles. And somehow there are still some people who are not able to navigate through the problems of this world. They still believe that there'll come a time where I'll be problem-free. And people like me have to pop their bubble and say, look, we have to stop expecting that from this world. The nature of this dunya is imtihan, test, and distraction. It never promised you, it itself never promised you, I never promised you, Allah never promised you, nobody of any sort of godly nature promised you that this world will leave you alone. In fact, quite the opposite. The higher you climb on the ladder of spirituality, the more there are difficulties. But by now, you should realize that God's mode of instruction is that I'm going to test you by giving you hardships. And there's immense wisdom behind that. And that's why I often say, pick your hard. Don't look for your easy. Pick your difficulty. Which difficulty will better you? Which difficulty will lead you towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Because somehow or another, God will test you. God will place the hard in front of you. There are people right now in our communities who are struggling with their in-laws, for example. It's a real issue, all jokes aside. Sometimes their inability to handle their in-laws affects their marriage. And they end up now, having to choose between their spouse and their parent. And ends up in divorce sometimes. You can ask him, definitely ask me. Now you can sit there and we're going to move, let's say, to Orlando or move to New York or move to, let's say, for example, Milton or Ajax, right? As far as possible from the in-laws. We can do all that. Or you can choose your heart. Because your heart will follow you to Whitby and Ajax. They'll follow you to Orlando as well. You have to ask yourself, which hard will lead me towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And sometimes a father-in-law and a mother-in-law lead us faster to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nobody else does. But running from the hard doesn't make sense. And it's not possible. I try to counsel a lot of couples. I'm not a counselor. I don't claim to be one. I'm just an ear. But sometimes some of the things that nowadays are breaking marriages, I don't understand it. You fight the world to get married. You fight the entire khandan, everybody, this and that. Has to be him. I love him, daddy, this and that, blah, blah, blah. And then within 75 days, 81 days, you're divorced. Because of what? Socks or toothpaste or whatever the case may be. Not real issues. No smoking gun, as you say. And I tried to tell these couples that you can run from this, but that hard is going to follow you to the next marriage until you fix yourself. Because that difficulty is meant to do what? To perfect you. Okay? It's meant to strengthen you. And that's why, we mentioned that in our Q&A a couple of nights ago. I always ask my elders, tell your grandkids or your kids your story. Tell them how you arrived in Canada with $50 in your pocket and you made this empire of a life around you. And talk about all the difficulties that you went through to get there. That now you can look back and either laugh at it, chuckle about it, fondly remember it, but during the time you're going through very, very much difficulty. Now, why is that the case? There are several reasons. One of them is, and I want you to understand this, sometimes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala absolutely places that hardship on your path. I'm not going to, quote my words tonight. Absolutely, He does. Sometimes it's because we've forgotten Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and people like me need a chappal once in a while to remind us Allah is there. And sometimes it's the case where Allah now wants to unveil the reality of this world to us, stage by stage, layer by layer. Sometimes people like me fall into the trap. This world is comfortable. It's easy. It's free. I can do whatever I want. I have all the privileges. And so I attach myself to this fleeting ship until God places a very difficult situation on my path. In the process, now what ends up happening is if you go through enough hardships, you develop a distaste for this world. And while I don't want anyone to live in misery, I do want all of us to wake up a little bit. We are sleeping a little bit. Some of us, people like me, khabe ghaflat we say in Farsi, right? This heedlessness that we have. We know what's waiting for us. We know what's about to happen. We're still somehow attaching ourselves to the sinking Titanic. Let's say, and I want you to go back and maybe think about this. God knows I do a lot. When you go through your difficulties in life, like major difficulties in life, a loss of a parent, let's say, for example, a miscarriage, a divorce, God forbid, a stillbirth, let's say, for example, a lost job, you name it. And we've all been through our fair share. You go back and you're bound to sit there and ask yourself who was there for me, who was not there for me. Like when I think about what I've gone through in my personal life, individually, as a family, with my wife, and I think about those people who showed up for me. And those who I was waiting to show up for me and never showed up for me. Guys that said, yeah, you're my boy, I said. We're boys. Ride together, die together. But when I needed him, nothing. Random people come to my house, fruit basket, come to the hospital to visit, all these things. Random people that I never thought were that close. Not once or twice, sometimes twice a week, 6, 7 times, always something in their hand. Meanwhile, I'm waiting for a text message, some emoji. Give me an emoji, bro, to let me know that you're thinking about me. I'll take the wrong emoji. Give me a unicorn, I'll take it. Just something. Nothing. Maybe he was busy. Second hardship, waiting. Maybe he was busy. Third hardship, 6th hardship, 10th hardship, nothing. After a while, you understand, maybe I don't see him the way he ought to be seen. Maybe I don't think our friendship is the way that he thinks it is. Maybe we're not as close as I think we are. There are some times where people show you their reality and you don't want to believe it. So you give them excuses. And yeah, Islam says 70 excuses, that's fine. But after a while, that's just their reality. That's who they are. They're toxic. And as many times as you want to believe, no, they're having a bad day or a bad week, they keep showing you their asliyat and their reality over and over again. Sometimes just take it as a reality. That's who they are. Stop trying to make them someone they're not. You have people in your life, I have people in my life. The faster I understand that's how they are, the less heartache I go through. The more I cling to maybe next time I go through hardship, they're the first one at my door, and I get disappointed and disappointed and disappointed, I can save that grief by accepting the reality. The dunya and the hardships are no different. The moment that we believe that things are flying in this world, we're going great now, alhamdulillah. I'm not telling you to wait for the next disaster. I'm saying that the nature of this world is that it's going to test you. It's going to test me as well. The hard is coming. Right? It's like that this is a long drive, let's say, for example, to a certain city, and there is miles and miles and miles of straight road. Put yourself on cruise if you want to, let go of the wheel, you're good to go. Eventually, you're going to hit the mountain. The mountain are sharp turns, left, right. An inch this way, you're down the cliff. An inch that way, you're against the mountain. That's going to happen. It's going to come up for you. The difference is that you've been through enough of these mountains to know how to handle the mountain. My elders have been through enough hardships to know how to handle the hardship. That's why when young people like me come up to them and say, oh, I have this stress and that stress, they laugh at us. You call that anxiety. You call that stress. Do you know what we've been through? Well, your power went out for half an hour. What happened? The Wi-Fi is out and my phone is dying. What's going to happen? 8 hours we would have daily without power in Pakistan, India. We had a water truck, not me, I'm saying people said we had a water truck. You fill up your water for the day and that's it. Shower and food and water and cooking for that a certain amount of jug of water. If the temperature is off in our taps, qayamat in our house. The point I'm trying to make initially is embrace the dunya as it shows its reality to you. Don't pretend like, well, the dunya is having a bad day. It's really a good place to live in. it'll show me its actual asit in a week. No, next week is another problem. Week after is another issue. And slowly but surely unveiling the reality of the dunya until it's beaten inside of you, this is not a place to attach myself to. I'm going to get time and time again disappointed and grief-filled. Let's move forward from here. So it's a matter of embracing your heart. Choose your heart. If your heart leads to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then that's great. If not, then leave it.